Welcome to the VST Piping Contractor Training for the installation of the North America version of the Green Machine. We'll be covering how to complete the vapor piping installation, which you'll find in Chapter 2 of the manual that accompanies the Green Machine. VST recommends that you follow along with this video in your manual. But first, a disclaimer. This video was prepared as a quick review for general contractors, vapor piping contractors, and electricians who are installing the VST North America Green Machine. It is not intended to replace the Installation, Operation, Maintenance, and Troubleshooting Manual, or IOMT manual, provided with the Green Machine. Refer to the IOMT manual for full information and detailed engineering drawings. The Green Machine will be installed near locations where highly flammable and explosive gasoline vapors may be present. Installation of the Green Machine must comply with the National Electric Code, federal, state, and local codes, as well as other applicable safety codes. Use extreme caution due to the risk of fire or explosion, which could result in serious injury or even death. If you're working in an area where vehicle traffic may occur, always block off the work area during installation, testing, and service to protect yourself and others. Do not use power tools that can generate sparks if there is a risk of flammable or explosive vapors being present. Read and understand all the materials related to installing, testing, and operating the Green Machine prior to installation. In this training, we're going to cover 8 key points listed here. Number 1, where the vent risers are to be manifolded. Number 2, the slope of the vapor and air lines away from the Green Machine. Number 3, the order of the pipe fittings from the vent riser to the Green Machine. Number 4, the 1/4-inch drain line with the matching 1/4-inch adapter from the vapor inlet line to the vapor outlet line. Number 5, the proper pipe fitting and plug to be installed at the air outlet vent riser. Number 6, locking the ball valves provided by VST. Number 7, the proper position for each of the previously mentioned ball valves during and after installation. Number 8, and finally, checking for liquid traps in the vapor piping. Please keep these points in mind throughout the remainder of the training. Turn your manual to section 2.1 to follow along with this information about manifolding the vent risers. The vent risers must be manifolded either above ground or below ground to allow pressure equalization between each of the underground storage tanks. VST recommends that both the vapor inlet and the vapor return lines be connected to the vent riser corresponding to the lowest octane UST. Continuing in section 2.1 of the manual, we're going to discuss the proper slope for the vapor piping between the Green Machine and the vent risers. All 3 vapor pipes, vapor inlet, vapor return, and air outlet, require a minimum slope of 1/4 inch per foot away from the Green Machine toward the vent riser. This slope drains any condensate that may be in the piping away from the Green Machine, improving both reliability and efficiency. Here's another example of the slope being installed correctly. Note that the slope is away from the Green Machine in all sections of the piping. Again, this constant slope away from the Green Machine allows any liquids in the piping to drain back to the underground storage tank. Turn your manual to section 2.3 to follow along with this information about the order of the pipe fittings installed between the Green Machine and the vent risers. There are 3 pipe fittings provided by VST that must be on each section of vapor piping in a particular order. First, and closest to the vent riser, install the 1-inch lockable ball valves that came with the Green Machine. Next, install the 1-inch union. Lastly, and closest to the Green Machine, install the 1-inch T with a plug. These pipe fittings must be installed in this order so the functionality test can be run properly and so that the Green Machine can be removed from the system without venting vapors to the atmosphere. Continuing in section 2.3, follow along with this information about installing the drain line. The drain line runs from the vapor inlet line to the vapor return line. This drain line allows any liquid that can accumulate in the vapor inlet line to drain to the return line and in turn to the underground storage tank. It's equally important that the drain line both have a loop and that the loop is correctly positioned with regard to the vapor lines. To ensure the liquid is allowed to properly drain, the top of the loop and the drain line must be below the bottom of the vapor inlet line. Also, note that this is where the 1/4-inch adapter is to be installed. Here's an example of a correct installation of the drain line. Note that the top of the loop is below the bottom of the vapor inlet line. Turn your manual to section 2.4 to follow along with this information about installing the air outlet vent riser. A new air outlet vent riser connected to the green machine must be installed to release the clean air to atmosphere. This vent riser must be installed to at least the same height as the existing risers, per NFPA regulations. It is important to ensure that clean air is able to vent to the atmosphere unobstructed by liquid. A T-fitting must be installed at the bottom of the air outlet vent riser with a plug in the bottom so that any liquid that may collect in the pipe can be easily drained. Turn your manual to section 2.5 to follow along with this information about the locking ball valves. The green machine comes with 3 lockable ball valves, along with a lock for each. These locks prevent any non-authorized tampering with the green machine, and all valves must be locked after the installation is complete. During installation, all 3 lockable ball valves on the vapor inlet, vapor outlet, and air return must be locked in the closed position. This is to prevent any vapors from escaping from the UST to atmosphere. After installation is complete, these 3 valves must be locked in the open position. Note that the closed position is perpendicular to the pipe, as shown in this picture. The ball valve below the pressure sensor must be in the open position. The open position for the ball valve below the pressure sensor is when the handle is vertical, as shown here. Continue in your manual to section 2.5 to follow along with this information about traps in the vapor piping. Any traps should be avoided in the piping between the green machine and the vent risers. In the event of any liquid accumulating in the piping, such as condensation or an overfill, liquid must be allowed to drain to the underground storage tanks. Here's an example of an installation that was done correctly with no traps. Now let's cover some common mistakes we've seen in the past on green machine installations. If the slope of the vapor piping is either sloped towards the green machine or away from the green machine with too little slope, then the vacuum pump will fail and will need to be replaced. There have been installations in which traps were present in the vapor piping. Again, these traps prevent any liquid that may accumulate in the vapor lines from draining to the underground storage tanks as required. Some installations have installed the pipe fittings on the vapor lines in the wrong order. This results in the pipe fittings needing to be reworked. Some commonly missing components are the T-pipe fitting with a plug for the bottom of the air outlet vent riser, the locks for each of the 3 ball valves, the pipe fittings for each vapor line, and the 1/4-inch adapter for the drain line. These items will not be misplaced if proper inventory is taken during the unpacking step, and all items are accounted for throughout the installation. There have been installations where the distance between the vapor inlet and the vapor return lines are too close together in the vertical direction. If these lines are too close, installation of the drain line will not be possible, and the vapor inlet or vapor return line will have to be reinstalled. Finally, there's the drain line. Sometimes this drain line has been installed with the top of the loop above the vapor line. On the other hand, there have been installations where the drain line does not have a loop. This allows liquid to drain, but also allows any vapors to pass from the vapor return line to the vapor inlet line. If this happens, the green machine will keep cycling the same vapor over and over. Again, it is important that the drain line both have a loop and that the top of the loop be below the vapor inlet line. You have reached the end of this video.